after the British commenced the colonisation between 1788 and 1900, the indigenous population was decreased by around 90%. The reason of this population decline were the introduction of new diseases such as smallpox and influenza. Second, the settlers' acquisition of indigenous land. And third, direct and violent conflict with the other colonies. This population decline caused the indigenous culture to vanish. This resulted in the indigenous civilizations adapting the Western culture because of the lack of knowledge about their own civilization, as less citizens possess the knowledge of their own culture. A classic example of this is the language. Prior to the colonization, there were around 250 languages which were spoken by the indigenous people. However, today, only 60 of them are still alive. Between the two world wars, it was determined by the government that the children with half Aboriginal background should be taken away from their families and raised in a white institution. The children which were forcefully separated from their family are known as the stolen generation, and some of this generation, which still exists today, have either found difficulties finding their family or are still in search to connect back to their loved ones. It is very scarce to discover how the Aboriginal governed themselves, but many people have written a brief description about it. The method which was used by the Indigenous Australian to govern themselves was shaped by the dreaming. The dreaming, which was the way that the civilians saw the world. From the dreaming originated the law, morality, education, social structure, and guidance on all aspects of life as well as survival. The dreaming did not only provide the Aboriginals the knowledge of hunting or which plants they could consume or use for medicine, but it also helped the indigenous community to live in harmony. It could be concluded that the Aboriginal community which was spread around Australia had no clue of existence of other communities, did not even follow a proper political structure, but they self-governed themselves by following the Dreamtime stories. Then after the settlements, many British colonies were formed, and the British took over Australia. At that time, Aboriginal people were not included in the government, and only rich landowners were provided with the right to elect the government. This meant that Aboriginal Australians had completely lost the control over their own land and had no say. They were only discriminated as the British thought that the white population was superior compared to all the other races which existed in the world.